and the 5POWER matchup. This is going to be interesting because we're still a little bit unsure on what to expect from both of these teams. We've seen the power from 5POWER, but we've also seen kind of the resilience of NASR as just a team in whole, right? Like not just in this tournament, but as a kind of overarching, overlying theme. NASR are able to kind of pull the results out. So it'd be really interesting to see how they go up against someone that I would say are on a similar caliber.
Yeah, definitely. And looking at the start of things, Havoc's managed to take the head off Xiao stage, and that's not a bad start for NASR at all. Now, one thing to note for NASR is that they're not playing with their full core, at least as far as I'm aware. I do believe Greens is a sub coming in for these guys. But even still, we'll see how they manage to go in this match today, and already starting off pretty well. A couple of those 5POWER players have been dropped. Bomb on the rotate to the A bomb site right now, but on his own. And that's obviously not going to be particularly ideal unless you can win a couple of pretty sharp aim battles against those remaining A players.
No, I think 5POWER unfortunately don't start up the way that we had hoped for. They split up, and that, to be honest, isn't really going to favor the T side when NASR are so aggressive. Both players actually fell quite deep in their lines, so that kind of shows you the aggression that NASR are taking into this matchup already. It's going to be Nami that takes the dink through the wall on the QKA and finishes the shot off, finds a second on the Shootapai, and Cabal is all that's left. KitKat makes light work of him. But again, NASR, they come out with a punch, they come out with a bang, and to be honest, this is something that I'm really intrigued in, is what can NASR show us in this best of one? What can they do for us?
Yeah, definitely. And this NASR roster, for anyone that doesn't know, is probably the best team in the Middle East. They've certainly been up there for quite a long time. And even despite that, they haven't really had too many opportunities. Like, you don't really see that much from NASR. Even when it comes to the Asian competitions, they just don't seem to be able to find their way in there. Very rarely do you see them playing overseas. So while they might be really strong domestically speaking within the Middle East, things don't always work out so well for them when they do go internationally. So this is a big opportunity and a big moment for NASR to be able to put their stamp on this page. But straight into the B-bomb site does go 5POWER, trying to take the overwhelmed by force strategy, and that is some nice force from Cabal as he gets the headshot onto Nami, a player on short coming up here into the A-bomb site, but Dobu might be able to shut him down. And Deagle going to work, player advantage right now for 5POWER as they try to hold on to the B-bomb site, but that very quickly has been ripped away. NASR streaming their way in. USP for Masters in hand. That's all onto Cabal. A great shot onto KitKat, but that is all she wrote for 5POWER in that round. Not a bad one. They get the bomb down, they get 3 kills, but they still don't get the round win. No, 5POWER, again, like this is what we saw from them in the first match, which is kind of just like, what do you want? Like you want to go toe to toe? We're gonna come swinging, and that's what they do, right? They come in, they just blitz onto that B bomb site, they shut down the first 2 players, but unfortunately after that it just starts to fall apart a little bit. A couple of lucky shots maybe with the Deagle from Cabal give them somewhat of an opening towards window, give them the cover to continue to take that site by storm. But NASR on that retake, really nicely done. Oh my word, Dobu just ripping the drive-by. By its literal definition. Nami has no clue what just hit him, and it's definitely a Falcon punch. That's all I've got to say. Just knocks the head. You can almost feel the whiplash in towards middle there, but still, regardless, 5POWER are up the man again. Yeah, and that's not the kind of advantage that you can keep giving over to 5POWER. Even despite the fact that they don't have any armor in this round, the fact that they still have 5 Deagles really makes this pretty scary now that you're a player down. NASR, all it's going to take is 4 bullets from 5POWER. We've seen what they can do before. Last round, Cabal was hitting shots with the Deagle. This round, Dobu's opened up. So for the moment, NASR, it's still within their control, but it's starting to slip the way of 5POWER. KitKat, he'll get traded out. That's good work from 5POWER. Exactly what they need to be doing.
That's a dirty trade again. 5POWER are just coming into this and going with raw aggression. They're just taking these Angels and winning more times than not. So, like you were saying, you can't keep giving this kind of an advantage to 5POWER, because right now they are showing that they will take that advantage and run with it. So the two men that have fallen for NASR right now, that's a massive misstep, because now 5POWER, they have so much room to wiggle, jiggle, and move. You can see 1 player on each mid, B, and A. That completely isolates the support towards B, and this is going to be really hard for Havoc to try and hold this. They are just going to make their way out slowly and surely. They do end up just blitzing out on towards the side. Havoc hits a really nice shot, just basically clotheslines him as he comes around the corner. He's doing a great job at holding on. 10 seconds, and that's it.
Well, the round's not over just yet. Schwaderpie finding 2. The bomb plant needs to go down. I don't know if he's actually got that in time. Ooh, just looks like he's managed to do it. Breaker in a 1v2.
Wow, that's way too close. But now Breaker, he's going to try and pull this one back. I thought that was it, but it's not to be. 5POWER hold on with these Deagles for dear life. The MP9 on the hands of Schwaderpie. They're going to do some serious damage here. The Deagle ticks him, so that's all he needed to do was just tickle him on the foot. Just let him know he's there. Now down to half HP. It's only going to take a couple more shots onto the body here, and that's going to be the MP9 finishing it off. Breaker can't make it work. The MP9's dropped, but the M4's picked up. MP9's picked up anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference. But that's really nicely done from 5POWER there to make the best of that situation.
And like I said, even though they don't get a great buy-through in that round, they have Deagles. The Deagles can work. Schwaderpie with the MP9. He comes up pretty clutch. I thought Havoc had done enough on that B bomb site, hiding by bench, holding off that long, allowing the rotation to come across from the NASR players. It seemed like it was going to be the round there for NASR, but then the big play out from 5POWER, the firepower from 5POWER, turns out to be enough for them to knock over a round earlier than what they might have expected to. Now they're the ones in there with the guns in their hand, and NASR are the ones that don't really have a whole lot to play with. So big advantage now for 5POWER. Not sure what's going on there for QKA, but all's well that ends well as Xiaostage survives.
It's just kind of signs of a little bit of a troll. Not really, he didn't mean to do that at all. Breaker finds a kill with 2 players closing in on his angle with AKs. Just absurd to find that kill, but KitKat now left. He's coming on the deep flank towards T-Spawn. I mean, he's got 4 players to deal with. You would dare say this is just going to be that situation where he goes for an exit. Might be given something, but it looks as though he has been spotted, he has been heard, and he has been hunted. KitKat will fall.
Yep, and 4 rifles taken through from 5POWER as well as Cabal does upgrade his SMG, so really nothing lost in that round for 5POWER. It's going to be another opportunity for them to build up some economy in this one, as NASR will, again, take a bit of a save. This time they can invest into the pistol and armor. Obviously the losers round bonus is going to allow them a buy in the next round, but already you've kind of gifted a round over to 5POWER. They're starting to look good, they're looking sharp. Very scary signs early on in the piece here for NASR.
And this is where things start to get a little bit shaky, right? If NASR can't start to get a bit more of a grip, I mean, yes, we're going off a couple of pistol rounds here, but things could start to change very quickly. However, the flash is beautiful over the top, and that completely blinds QKA. That's going to be the initial peak that NASR are looking for. Now the man up, they can actually play with this quite nicely. Yeah,
not too much information, though, for NASR in that one, I don't think, because I'm pretty sure they didn't spot the bomb. Seeing a player there in A main, it's not going to be too much info. You are generally going to be seeing one player there, regardless of where the rest of the Ts are going to be going, just to make sure that there's no push out from the CTs, which in this case obviously hasn't worked out for him. But for 5POWER, they're going to be able to reset things back to a 4v4. Nice work from Cabal. Xiaostage with the molly in there as well to back him up. All in all, working out pretty nicely for 5POWER as they start to take control of the map. And NASR, they worked with what they had. They were able to get an opening, but they haven't been able to follow up on that.
No, just as 5POWER starts to, like tighten their grip, that's when NASR just kind of lose focus a little bit. They go for the over-aggressive peek in mid with that AK, so that's dropped immediately. Now, Schwaderpie could just hold the angle. A really nice flick. I mean, that's to be expected. It's rat hole. You can't get through that without being seen. It takes some sort of incredible bunny hop to make it through unnoticed. So really nice done from Schwaderpie. That just shuts down everything. They're not even going to go for this at the moment now. So they might go for that weapon that's just sitting in towards snipers, which it looks as though Breaker's kind of hunting for, but Havoc is just going to hold down in towards chairs at mid. So this is just another round for 5POWER, and again, this is what we're starting to talk about is, this inevitable roll that just starts to happen with one of these Asian teams when they get a good handling. Hang on, see, these are the kind of things. These are the kind of things that can tilt, and not just tilt players, but tilt the momentum completely. Havoc ripping off another head, and that might seem minute, okay.
Well, look, to be fair, it's still damage. You get through that round with only 1 gun left as 5POWER. That's better than what it looked like. It looked like it was going to be 5 guns through. So NASR have at least done well in that department. Unfortunate not to be able to take some AKs through there, but still, damage is damage, even if it is to the T side, even if the T side right now has a player that has more than 10k in the bank. It's better than nothing. NASR now, though, with their first, I would say, this is their first proper gun round of the map. They need to impress here.
Definitely, they need to kind of show what they can actually do. This is the first time we've been able to see both teams on a full buy with the AWPs out. I think that might play a big factor in the NASR if they can use that effectively on Nami. We don't know how much of an impressive or, you know, like how powerful he is, what kind of impact he can have. So this map will be quite testing. As you can see already, look at the aggression in towards A main here. You've got 3 players just setting up their smokes, but you could see it was Greens that was holding onto the line and basically KitKat just playing bait. They look to still be really aggressive. Now this is, you know, it's a blessing in disguise sometimes. And even for the T side, it's a blessing in disguise because they're sitting in A main. They're not getting any information. So the rotates eventually start to come in and they start to question, hang on, we haven't heard any footsteps yet. What is going on? How have we not heard anything towards top mid? So then, you know, it starts to falter a little bit. And as you can see, they have to pull away. So no information was gained at all.
Lots of utility coming into the A bomb site now from 5POWER. First time we're really going to be seeing them execute out onto the site in this game. But Greens is playing by Ninja, and it's going to catch the 5POWER guys off guard. That'll leave the opening for KitKat. Goodness me, it's all gone wrong. Leave the opening for KitKat to peek out, spray down 3. Great work from KitKat. Great little crossfire setup from NASR as well, and a nice little bait and switch. So 5POWER, it's just fallen apart for them in that round.
I mean, I don't even think they meant for that to go that way. You know, Greens pops out and tries to find that kill. Okay, this last player's going to be shut down. But just touching on that round, Greens, right? He just sits in towards Ninja, just waits for those players to push out. I really like that from NASR. They don't meet the aggression with aggression. They wait until these players push out and actually catch them off guard. 5POWER did not do their due diligence at all and check their angles, so they were nearly punished right off the bat. Greens misses a couple of shots, grabs the attention, and then that second player just pushing through the smoke criminal just completely shuts down. We see it a lot in AU actually, where players just push through the smoke and always catch players out. So this is, it can be effective. However, if 5POWER, you know, if they do their due diligence and they check those angles, that round is looking very different. But
yeah, indeed. But a round is a round, nonetheless, for NASR, and definitely a better gun round than what we've seen so far. This round shaping up pretty nicely as well, as Nami just waits for Xiao Stage, waiting on that corner for quite a while. But inevitably is going to net the free kill. The first frag the way of NASR in this one. And 5POWER, for them, this is a pretty important round, actually, because it is an opportunity to reset NASR, to get a few more on the board. If NASR gets this one pretty comfortably, that's where the CT economy starts to build up. And that's where 5POWER then really start to have to work, actually, a lot more on this T side than what it looked like they might have to. But so far, this matchup is looking a lot closer than what we've seen from our previous 4 matches.
Nami just changing positions left, right, and center. He's like a cat right now. He just can't sit still. He's just finding a different approach to every angle. Already finding himself 2 kills, 1 towards top middle and 1 towards A main. But look at this push coming through from A main. You can already see it's Greens, but he's being punished for doing so. It's all about timing. Cabal's already pushed himself in towards Connector and through to jungle. Things get a little bit dicey now for NASR. They're completely split up in 5POWER. They have a lot of room to wiggle, but they need to make sure that they don't get isolated.
Yeah, and there's only 26 seconds on the clock here as well. So this player on the A bomb site, Nami, I think it is, might actually be able to shut the round down. If he gets the kill right now onto Schwaderpie, which he won't be able to. That could have been the round for NASR. It really could have been enough to buy time for Havoc to rotate across. There was not any time to get the bomb down. Things could have been chaotic there for 5POWER, but luckily they're able to get that kill, and they're going to be able to get the bomb down, and most likely that is going to transfer into a round now as Havoc, his position is known. QKA will shut him down easily. 4-3 for 5POWER, but a very action-packed round, and 5POWER just able to take it at the end there by controlling the map and just having the better positioning when it really mattered.
I really like this. You know, both teams are actually showing what they're made of. They're packing the punches and they're going toe to toe. Every time that we see 5POWER pull something out, NASR seem to find a way to kind of either, you know, subside it or just silence it. And then the same said, like NASR find the first 2 early picks with the AWP on Nami, and 5POWER somehow bring it back. That's a nice shot coming out from QKA. Yep. I do like that from Greens though. That was a little bit cheeky. Could have found himself in a nice little angle with a USP in the head. I mean, what are you going to do when you shove a barrel inside the head? Not much.
Not much. Yeah, look, to be honest, it is just pistols here for NASR, so not expecting too much out of this round. A nice little bit of aim prac for 5POWER, and again, some confidence boosters, some settlers really for 5POWER as well. As that, it does seem like they're taking their time to sort of just get into this matchup. I do think that they are getting the better of NASR just a little bit. And again, the longer this continues, like I said about that MVP match, the more opportunities 5POWER get to just settle themselves in this matchup and feel a bit more confident. I think the harder it is going to get for NASR, so it's really critical for NASR to be making the most of all of the gun rounds that they're able to get. And the last one, I don't think they really did, because they got the opening kills, they weren't able to win that round, they allowed 5POWER to come back into it. Have another gun round here for NASR, and again, this one is absolutely critical.
Yeah, definitely, and it looks as though the AWP is going to meet each other in towards middle Nami as well, who's found himself quite a few picks, and that's so aggressive coming in from KitKat. Hyper aggression works to a T. And it's going to be 5POWER who lose the first player early on, and a second as well, as Nami just continues to be the thorn. And so far, Nami impressing on the AWP.
Yeah, definitely. I think of all of the players, is having the most impact as an individual. At least for NASR, that is for sure. But for across the board, I think he actually is having more of an impact than anyone, individually speaking. Still, the rotation coming across now from NASR into the A site. 5POWER encroaching there a little bit as well, but they don't have the bomb control. They're not necessarily committed to this one just yet. xiaoSage in a very nice position here in jungle. Going to be having a look into CT spawn. Dobu in the meanwhile finding one. Timing is so bad for NASR here. xiaoSage is going to get a free one. Took a little bit more than it needed to, but he gets the job done in the end, and that's what matters.
Oofed. That's a little bit too close there. I mean, we saw something go the other way, literally in the first map. So, you know, a flick and a half, and sometimes you can pay for a missed shot. It's going to be Breaker that finds himself a chance. It's a small chance, but something, but maybe a tale that was being told too quickly. QKA shuts him down, and like you were saying, Nami is having a massive impact. You know, he's only got, it doesn't seem like he's only got 7 frags, but those 7 frags have all come in crucial rounds. So unfortunately, again, 5POWER were in a 3 versus 4, and they keep bringing it back. NASR are slipping up a little bit in these kind of advantageous positions. They're just not getting over the line. And I think, you know, part of that does come into Dobu on the flank. 5POWER are very spread right now, and they're able to put the pressure on so many different points that NASR are struggling with it a little bit. Yeah,
you really got to be locking those rounds down if you are NASR. There needs to be something done here to I guess, stop the aggression from 5POWER, stop the control of the map that 5POWER is being able to get so easily. A lot of times we've been seeing them just kind of wander their way into jungle and find the map win, or the match win, round win. There we go. We got there in the end. Round win because of that map control that they do have. So I think NASR needs to just be a little bit more short, a little bit more careful checking those angles. But 5POWER up to 6 and 3. It's an eco now for NASR. You get the sense that 5POWER are starting to take real control of this map, and it's slipping away from NASR a little bit.
Small portions, but you know, it's all the little things in Counter-Strike, isn't it? It's not just the overarching, it's not the entire thing. It's just sometimes it's the straw that broke the camel's back, I feel. And at this point, you're seeing that come to full fruition. It's not as if NASR are having a terrible game. It's not as if NASR are doing anything on a massive scale that can be pointed out and saying, you need to fix this. They're just not winning their advantageous positions, their 4v5s, their 3v4s, and they're being punished for it. So you can see this right now. Dobu just coming out again. Wow. He is a monster coming out of Palace. That's 3 times he's done that.
We've always known that Dobu has been a very, very impactful player, especially on the entry role here for 5POWER. And even in the past, I think when he was on Mongols, he was showing similar sort of traits. But again, 5POWER now, 7 and 3. It's going to be a gun round out for NASR. I feel like a kind of a broken record at this point, but it's an important one for NASR. They're really letting this half slip away, and if they don't win a gun round now, and if they don't win it comfortably, and don't win a couple of gun rounds in a row, things are going to be really, really problematic for NASR headed on down later into this map. Remember, it is a best of 1, so you don't really have too many chances past this. But if you go 2-0 in the groups, which is what both of these two teams are looking for, you lock yourself in for playoffs. If not, then you still have another match to play to make your way through. So, pretty big map here for both of these two teams. It would sort of allow them a bit more of an order. Great timing from QKA as Greens walks right into his crosshair. Fully flashed. No worries.
No whacking furries, my friend.
Yep.
Very nicely done. The head goes cleanly off, and now they're going to execute on towards this A site with that pick. Now can 5POWER confirm this round? Nami falls down. KitKat might be next up. He does find some tags through the wall. Eventually finding and confirming the kill. Now a 3 versus 4. It's NASR's turn to maybe make this work. Dobu taking a lot of damage from these nades that are being thrown over the top. Down to 16 HP, forced out of position, nearly finds the kill in towards Havoc. And now as they make their way in towards the bomb site, they've got 3 players all coming in on that centerpiece. There's 2 in towards A main, 1 on the flank, and that could be their real insurance. That is their safety net right now, but it's QKA that's making light work of this defense known as NASR. Cabal comes in to clean on up with a 2K, but my word.
I think it's a little bit too far gone now for NASR. It just seems that way. It just seems 5POWER have had that opportunity to warm themselves up into the map, to get a bit of a read as to how NASR's playing out on this CT side, and they're being able to overwhelm them with that superior firepower that we did sort of talk about when we characterized this 5POWER roster. And for NASR, they just continue to get reset and reset and reset. They're taking an eco, they're buying, they're losing, they're ecoing, they're buying, they're losing. Again, eco. And they haven't really been able to get on top of this economic game either at NASR. So it's a few factors sort of all bunched up into one, but 5POWER absolutely taking control of it and really taking advantage of NASR right now. So we're going to see another eco sort of pistol armor buyout from NASR here, but I don't think it's going to trouble 5POWER. They've been too dominant in the last 3 or 4 rounds.
It's a game inside a game, the economy, isn't it? Because if you don't take care of it, you're going to be punished for it. And that's, I mean, we're not seeing that with NASR per se. We definitely saw it in the first map of today where we've seen a lot of teams today just continuously go for the forced buys. It's nice to see, although, yes, you're saying that the ecos are, you know, they're devastating. It's also nice to see that they're not, you know, stressing out too much and just going all in on these buys. They are keeping a lot in the bank, and this will give them a small buffer if and when they actually win a round, but that is a big if at this point. With the way 5POWER are kind of dominating this, they're not leaving much to the imagination for NASR. They're going to have to pull out something big, and Nami's going to start with the scout. Surely not again. He's going to tag him, but he doesn't find the kill just yet, securing it as he hits him twice with the scout. Now 2 players falling on out. They haven't fallen out just yet, still taking a lot of damage. The scout is putting in work from Nami, still taking damage. Cabal will be able to take one, but Nami with a nice flick on a Cabal, and this is just absolutely filthy. Another round today, which we have seen an eco come out on top with a scout.
Yeah, it's a little bit perplexing for NASR how they can do that, but they can't necessarily win the gun rounds. Look, it is what it is, right? So for 5POWER, they've let the ball slip a little bit there. We're going to see a pause come out. I think that might be a tactical pause from 5POWER. I didn't quite catch it when it came up in the chat there. But overall, 5POWER will be disappointed with that because that's left the door open now for NASR to come back into this half. It was looking like 5POWER really were going to run away with things and make this not a quick map, but a fairly comfortable map at the very least. But now NASR, they're going to get that extra bit of cash in their bank. They got an extra free round now. Build up that economy, perhaps. They can bring it back to an 8-7, at which point, kind of anybody's game. I've always sort of thought of Mirage as more of an 8-7 kind of a map, whichever way it does swing. I would still sort of lean towards 8-7 CT side, but look, 8-7 regardless is still not going to be too bad, especially for NASR, considering how things have been going so far. I think they would love to get to 7 at this point.
Oh, if they could get to 7, they'd be absolutely laughing. It'd be a field day for them, considering how much of a kind of grip 5POWER's had on this game. You know, they've actually had quite the momentous kind of push with them since that 3rd round that they were able to take. They've just kind of taken it and run. And so far, it's looking really nice coming in from 5POWER. We did say, and we do stress continuously, that 5POWER do have quite that strong mentality in the fact that they are very good mechanically, so they will put on the pressure when it comes to those raw aim battles rather. But for me, I think this is a really good test for both NASR and 5POWER to kind of see where they are, where they might land when it comes later into the tournament. But to start with, 5POWER have been quite impressive.
Yeah, definitely. It still sort of leaves a little bit to be desired. Not necessarily leaves a little bit to be desired. That's not the right way of saying things, but it does leave something to the imagination as to how things are going to go against some of the stronger teams, because I've always looked at 5POWER and thought this is a team that could go deep in tournaments, but they always tend to just miss out by a little bit. So they need a little bit more. Looks like we're getting unpaused relatively shortly, which is good to see. But yeah, for me, 5POWER have always been on the cusp of being a great team in the Asia region, but they've never really had the consistency to be able to make me think of them in that same light as someone like MVP or Flash of old, or Boot Dreamscape or Tai Lu. They need that little bit of extra consistency. And maybe with this newer roster, this new look roster, they are going to be able to do it. PTC, the former AWP, has obviously departed. QKA now coming into the roster, and he does seem to be pretty impressive. But 8-4 now on 5POWER. What they want to do here right now, their mission is essentially just to reset NASR again. If they win this round, they will be able to do that.
And to be honest, the way that 5POWER have been able to kind of take control, you do have to be worried a little bit if you're NASR right now, and that's why you can see the kind of buffer across towards B. They know that they can't really risk losing a player early to that mid-fight, which tends to happen quite a lot. Even if you find the kill, you generally... I mean, unless you're playing from snipers, you can get away with it, but still, even then, you're risking that early shot coming in from 5POWER. And the way that they've been able to kind of pull this, and the aggression that not only Dobu and Cabal have shown, but QKA as the AWPer, he's kind of given them less routes to take. And Nami was running an absolute muck all over 5POWER to begin with. But look at this right now. 3 players across towards Connector. 1 A main, 1 Palace. This is going to be the pinch that we see quite often. But generally we see a player punished by now. We don't always see 5 players left to just walk in towards that A bomb site. And there we go. That's going to be a small punishment coming in from Breaker, who's tapping away from short. Now going to be pushing on him. It's going to be Nami that goes for the aggressive peek with the AWP, and that's going to be him taken down. 1 still in towards jungle. 1 trying to find his way from ticket booth, but he is not safe and no longer in this world. 3 players left to try and push back, and NASR, they have to hit with a vengeance, but Cabal is not allowing anything.
Yeah, absolutely not. Kit Kat from CT Spawn trying to do some damage, but against 4 players right now, you really can't back NASR in this round. It's getting to the point, though, where they really kind of have to just try and go for these retakes, because they don't have rounds left in the half to be giving away. Unfortunately, this is going to be one of those rounds they need to give up. Havoc will take the AWP through, or at least try to take the AWP through. But 5 guns through for 5POWER, or 4 guns through for 5POWER. That round looked far too easy. They just execute out into the side. A bit of a scare as they're getting shot through Connector, and the timing so unfortunate for Havoc. But gotta do what you gotta do. 9-4, 5POWER go up another. Eco out for NASR. Now they are in a bit of a predicament. Do we buy into this round? We've got a couple of guys above 5k. We could force through. Do we save this round and try and get the buy next round? Go for the 10-5. Even regardless, if they do save here, which it looks like they will, the buy is not going to be great next round. They haven't got the losers round bonus built up. But what else can you do? You're backed into a corner right now as NASR, and what could have potentially been an 8-7 half is now looking even more likely to be an 11-4. Sometimes
that is the most dangerous part for an opposition, though, is when their backs are in a corner, when they have no other option, and they have to pull out one of those big plays. You know, it's kind of like the rat in a cage. You know, you force a rat into a cage or into a corner, it's going to fight out. So maybe can NASR do something with these pistols? I know it's a tall order, it's a tough ask, but they might just be able to make something work, some damage at the very least, but it's just falling apart bit by bit at the moment. They're finding the picks, and that's going to be the kills coming in. Havoc at the very least will find 1 for his troubles, but with Breaker rather up on top of stairs, he does try to... Oh, okay, Havoc's still inflicting some damage, so it's not all bad. He's finding dinks left, right, and center. Oh my word, Havoc is finding all the kills!
No way!
Havoc has just made it work! What have we just seen, Elfish?
That was a cluster of fun. An ace as well with the USP from Havoc. I am gobsmacked.
What did I say about a rat? What did I say?
I have not seen a round like that in a long, long time.
I was literally just hyping that up just in case, and what have I just seen?
I don't know. I don't know. That's another one of those rounds where you're going to hope that you can go back and have a look at that later on today. That is insane. But also, I've got to say for 5POWER, I think they might have messed it up a little bit there. They kind of gave a little bit too much respect over to Havoc and didn't quite get themselves into post-plant positions quickly enough either. In the end, punished for it. But still could lead to a 10-5 half. I mean, 6-9 would be great for NASR.
I'm lost for words right now. That is absolutely absurd coming in. Regardless, it does give NASR, I mean, a small little buffer. I say that with a question mark on the end,
like,
because
if they're winning rounds only because someone can get an ace on a USP, it's still probably not going to be enough for them to win the map. But what on earth was that?
That was just absolutely absurd. Again, that was 5POWER playing themselves out of that one. They knew that he just had the USP, and so
like no one even peeked him.
No,
you just needed. You got a couple of guys with full HP. Just come on,
like
take him down.
It's a USP, man. What you doing? But at this point, they are going to go for that same kind of play that they went for only 2 rounds earlier. 3 players in towards middle, but they are going to put a bit more aggression on towards short, so they might be able to punish them a little bit more at the moment. Nami as well. He is posted up across towards Ticket, watching straight down the scope towards A main, so that's going to make things a little bit difficult for 5POWER getting out, but still they're going to just directly go into the crosshair of Greens. He can't get any more done than the one. What a flick coming in from Nami, making another. Oh,
thought he was going to get the third.
Oh, you had the feeling.
But unfortunately, will not be the case. UKA now left alone here for 5POWER, and, well, thanks to Havoc, it could have been an 11-4, but now it's a 9-6. Not too bad at all for the guys on NASR. It's enough to play with. It's not a great first half, but it's something at the very least, and so they can go into the second half. If they win the pistol, bring it back, it could be anyone's game. I'm still leaning on the side of 5POWER. I think they showed across the entire first half there a little bit more consistency. They did look a little bit better to me, but they could be the tale of two halves.
Definitely. And that is the beautiful thing, not only about Counter-Strike, but about Mirage. You actually, even though it is slightly, I mean, statistic-wise, it is slightly lent towards CT, you do see a lot of times the T5POWER come out in a massive force. Now, we haven't really seen either of these teams tested today, so this is where we kind of get to see the proof in the pudding, if to say, on how they're going to be able to perform. The smoke's going to come over early, and they're going to go ahead and flood onto the B-bomb side. It's KitKat leading the charge. Cabal falls early, and now pushing down towards the last pillar. He already takes down QKA, but I don't know whether they know. No, well, Bench is already dead, but not again.
No, not this time, I don't think. Bomb down already for NASR. 2v4. Surely it can't happen, especially with Xiao Sage onto a one-shot. It's really going to have to be Dobu that needs to come up large, but there is just such a massive crossfire set up there for NASR that it's too much to deal with for those coming CTs. 9-7, NASR now with the opportunity to come back into this map and make it a close one.
Yeah, an explosive play from NASR. That's just the Suka B. You know, how many times do we just see that on the pistol rounds? Just go back to basics. And what are basics of Counter-Strike? Grab your pistols and run B. That is what you do on Mirage, and that is what gets you so many rounds. It's absurd how many rounds you can actually just amount when you do rush B on pistols. It sounds absurdly simple, and they're just going to do it again right now. They're just going to continue to prove me right. Pushing on out with SMGs this time. It should surely be an onslaught. Only 2 players. They haven't checked Cabal yet, who manages to find 1, but not a second. Now, they have to step with great caution now. 1 player low, 2 players drop. That's not the way NASR wanted to take this round.
No, definitely not, and it's still a winnable round for NASR, especially with QKA getting close with the CZ. Can't quite deny the bomb plant, and will actually be dropped by Nami. Unfortunate there for 5POWER. That could have been the round, but now it is still hanging in the balance. Dobu 1 onto Greens. Trying to play, if he wins this aim battle, really will take control of a very strong position on the B bomb site, but that timer starting to tick away a little bit. No defuse kit right now for 5POWER, so they need to start thinking about the time. Dobu, again, stepping up. 1 more to find, and he knows roughly where that final player is. What a shot as he flicks around the corner. Nami drops, and this round and this map still have some more excitement left for us.
I mean, you just wouldn't read about it. He's only going to get it within seconds of it blowing, but it does not make a difference. Really well played from Dobu there. Nice swing, just the aggression from Dobu. He knows where that last player is. He knows what he has to do. He swings wide, and fortunately enough, it's kind of with the strafe that he hits the shot. Yep. I mean, the crosshair's nowhere near him. If you slow that down, the crosshair is nowhere near that player, but it's the strafing shot that hits him, and really nicely done. That confirms 5POWER a little bit more of a buffer, and NASR misstep. And again, it's kind of these unforced errors that we are seeing, you know, players pouring out without checking their angles and then being punished for it and not trading effectively. NASR, unfortunately, get punished in a massive way.
Yeah, absolutely, but they're going to have to try and make something of this round. They don't have anything to work with. Goodness me, the flashbang. It does come in from NASR, but it's far too late. Didn't really deal too much to the 5POWER players anyway. KitKat makes it interesting toward the end there, but realistically, against 5, he wasn't going to have a chance. 11-7, 5POWER secure another round. It'll be the bye here for NASR, though, and this is where things start to really get interesting in the second half.
This is where things can start to take you know, full effect, especially for NASR. I mean, they don't have the greatest buy, right? They've got the SMG, which is going to be a little bit rough. It's going to be, I mean, I'm interested to see how they're going to make that work. You know, you can just kind of play close quarters or play off the shoulder of someone and try and bait that player out with the SMG, but it's definitely not going to support you at long range. So at this point, they need to be very careful. 2 players towards connector. 1 is already well and truly in the ladder room area. See, of course, Green's making his way there and might just find himself a cheeky little frag. Swings on wide, hasn't seen the player yet, but will eventually delete him. Charles A now falling down. QKA finds the prompt reply, and that's the kind of response that we needed to see from NASR, but so too 5POWER. KitKat finds the opening on the QKA, and it's going to be Shutterpie that shuts down KitKat. Dobu makes light work of Greens as Havoc goes aggressive. Now 1 more remaining. He does find the frag, and that is a big frag at that. Dobu falls down, and Cabal is the only man left.
Yeah, but he is on the flank right now through the T-spawn, and I'm not sure that NASR are expecting that. If he's quiet and if he's quick, he might be able to do some damage here while the bomb is going down. But looks like he is just a little bit too slow to the A-bomb site to really make an impact, and now he has to creep up. It does look like both of these Ts are in positions that are 1v1 for Cabal, and that's a great shot onto Nami. Did not think he was going to get it done that easily, but now that really gives him a chance. If he thinks Havoc is in CT spawn, but he doesn't properly check it, the round will go the way of NASR. So close, yet so far for 5POWER. The AWP will be taken through as well.
Both teams are getting punished for their kind of their aggression in trying to take the round. I feel as though some of these teams are just they're not thinking it through enough. They're just like, we need this. We need to find where the player is, instead of just going, okay, the bomb's been put down. We still got 30 seconds to work with. You know, like he just swings wide, and I get it. I get it. You know, it's a race against the clock, right? You don't have enough time to just check every angle, but still, once you find that player in towards dark, then there's still a lot more that you can get done. Nami, however, just shutting down Dobu as he goes for the swing in towards middle, and KitKat might just do the same. No. They're not going to play with fire just yet, because you're going to get burnt, that's for sure. Now pushing up towards short. They've got the shoulder of Nami to work off, but 4 players on towards A. Surely NASR don't go A here. Surely.
Well, stranger things have happened. They haven't actually got any information on the B site just yet. No one's floating up in Palace. Green's up on short, hasn't really peeked into the site just yet, and this does look like it is going to be NASR walking into the trap, lying in wait, as 5POWER do have those 4 players on the bomb site, but just the pistols out, the 5.7s, Deagles, CZ. Should be okay for NASR if they can make the trades work here, and that is exactly what is occurring. Shwadapai, he's in a good position here, but the time, it's still a lot on the clock, and the kill's going to go the way of Havoc anyway, so really not enough to cause problems for 5POWER. QKA might be able to get 1 more here, but past that, he should get shut down pretty quickly. Not a whole lot in that round for 5POWER, unfortunately, and NASR will most likely put themselves up to 9.
You would hope so. As he goes a little bit aggressive there, Greens will just ankle tap QKA. And so this is, you know, we're just watching this matchup, and it's a game of tug of war at the moment.
Backwards and forwards.
Both teams are literally just trying to flex on each other and show each other what they've got, but the problem is, to be honest, the caliber is so even. Both teams have their standout player. Both teams have a decent AWPer to work with. Both teams are finding picks early on and trading like it's...
And they're both finding rounds just on the back of pistols as well. It's got it all. It's just been a pretty crazy matchup, to be honest, and I think that's kind of what you expect out of matches with 5POWER in it. Though, for NASR, like I said, I don't know so much about them. I didn't really characterize them with this kind of game, though, in that statement. But, Lil, see how this one goes for 5POWER as, well, not so well. They've basically fallen over on the B-bomb side. There's a little bit more semblance of normalcy being returned to the match, as the guns actually are reigning supreme over the pistols.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I know.
No, you can't be serious. This map has definitely been one to remember, that's for sure. 5POWER and NASR, they are packing the punches. They are going toe-to-toe. They are finding both players, all players, sorry, firing on the cylinders in which they need. Don't really think that I can point out one player that's really been lacking at all in this map. So it's good to see. It's good to see that both teams can kind of, you know, find their stride, even though both teams have they've been in a situation where it's been a little bit awkward, and they've still found a way to claw it back. So
Yep.
I think this is just going to go down to the wire. I feel like this is going to be one of those full regulation, maybe overtime matches.
Could be. I think it comes down to how the economy is managed on the CT side as to whether this is going to get to overtime or not. At the moment, you can see 5POWER very, very low on the money. So NASR well and truly actually in control of this half at the moment, I feel. 5POWER need to have a few good rounds in a row before they're going to really be able to trouble NASR all that much. But if this goes by the wayside, NASR's going to start to stream ahead, and potentially we could see actually a bit of a flip of what we thought, where it was going to be a fairly comfortable victory for 5POWER. But there is a chance now that if NASR get the ball rolling on this T side and really keep that economy low on CT, they themselves can get the ball rolling and just shut 5POWER out of this match by virtue of the fact that the economy doesn't work in their favor.
Yep. There's a lot of danger. There's a lot of different points in which this just completely flips on its head, and you feel as though the way that this match has gone, it could just do so. It's going to be QKA with the aggressive pick to start with, pushes back through the smoke. Really well done from 5POWER there to get that first frag and then all pull out of the site and just say, you know what, have the site, do whatever you want. The Molotovs and the smokes are really well used from NASR at this point, but it's going to have to be a stronghold to stop this stomp that is being 5POWER in this round. And now they're going to push directly on into the site.
Well, 3v5, it's still doable for NASR. They're going to need to hit some shots, and Greens certainly has. Cabal does drop coming in from the CT spawn, but now he has much more work to do as the player's starting to collapse onto his position. He's stuck in a crossfire angle. The aim duel cannot be won for there by Nami, and Havoc, well, the bomb's not really planted for him, so good luck to you, mate. And it's going to be 10 to 12. 5POWER closing the round out, like I said, comfortably is what they need. They still need probably another round comfortably after this before they're going to be out of the hot water. But that's a little bit of a settler for 5POWER.
Yeah, but the problem right now is if even though they have that small buffer, they're going to lose most of it having to rebuy utility. If they don't manage to secure this round, okay, so they go for the double AWP setup. That's interesting, considering the fact that there was already an AWP on the ground. They didn't pick it up anyway. We won't touch on that just yet. But the problem for 5POWER right now is if they get reset, if they can't win this round, it's just out of the frying pan and into the fire. It's, you know, like it's going to be execution by fire, quite literally, if they're not careful, because that economy, like you're saying, it's not in touch yet. They still need 1 or 2 more rounds of comfortability before they're able to take forward in towards this matchup. But they are going to play for the retake right now, and that is so fortunate. He actually nearly finds a second shot through the smoke. Can't do so just yet, but it's going to be burning through the fire and flames. And look at this from QKA, just the aggression coming in. He's still going for these frags, and he is not holding back whatsoever. 2 players remain for NASR, and down falls Havoc. It's only Nami to remain, and there's no way, surely not. There's no tall order in which he can make this work.
I don't think so. Doesn't even spot Cabal through the fire and the flames. 13-10, 5POWER. It just seems like there's been another shift in momentum in the last couple of rounds. They've really overwhelmed NASR. I don't know, maybe that A-bomb site isn't exactly the right play for NASR. We've seen them twice in a row now go for the execute onto the A-bomb site. They haven't really had any control in mid. They haven't done anything over towards B. They haven't done anything to unsettle the CT. So they've all just sort of comped up on the A-bomb site and said, all right, well, you're going to run at the A site. We will stop you. And so they haven't had any second thought or any doubt in their mind as to what site the T's are going to go to. I think for NASR, what they need to do is at least throw a little bit of utility into mid, take a little bit of control there, maybe put a player in there and try to wrap into the A-bomb site, take an A-split, or put some presence over toward B, maybe try and catch someone on the rotate, something like that. Do something different than just running into the A-bomb site, because we've seen it twice in a row now, and twice in a row it has worked spectacularly in the favor of 5POWER. But they're running out of time. It's pistol armor in this one for NASR, and that most likely will allow 5POWER through to 14, and that is, well, it's getting toward the pointy end of things.
Yeah, it's always down to the wire, and to the down to the last couple of rounds here as we do head into the 6th last round, so there's still plenty of time for something to happen. There's still plenty of time for NASR to claw this one back, but unfortunately with the kind of momentum that 5POWER is starting to take, if they do secure this round, things will start to look very devastating for NASR, and already looking to go aggressive. It's going to be Dobu with the AWP. Does he find the pick? No, so just taking some shots through the smoke, actually. That's a nice nade. Just does a fair bit of damage. They're going to go ahead and push off the back. of the missed shot, but they make short work of them, and 5POWER now are really starting to look so well versed.
That timing, very, very nice again for QKA. The double orbs, they didn't really seem to be working out, to be honest, for 5POWER. Most of the damage was done just by the pistols, but in the end, it is going to be enough. The double orb will be taken through, 14-10. Another round where 4 guns come through for 5POWER, and another round where they can really build that economy up. You can see it right now, looking fantastic on that CT side. So NASR have quite a bit of work to get done to get their way back into this map now, I feel.
Yeah, like you were saying, the grip is maybe just starting to become too firm. 5POWER, they do have not only the economical advantage, but they also have the momentum swing. NASR, it's going to take some sort of claw for them to find this one back. It's been a close matchup, though, and you know you can't knock them at all for the effort that they've been able to put in. But this time they're going to stack 3 across towards B. I like this coming in from 5POWER. They are changing up their hold as NASR change up their default. They're going to send 2 towards mid, 2 towards A, 1 in Palace, 1 in A main. The last is just going to be holding down B halls to make sure no one pushes. But look at the aggression coming through from B main as well. I'm sure that, yeah, that's QKA just on the AWP. You already know that he's holding down that line, and that is going to allow for so much information for 5POWER.
Yeah, and it's going to give them a bit more freedom as well on the CT side to rotate a player further up through short, a quicker rotate into the A bomb site, a little bit more control over mid. So at the moment, 5POWER still are not under all that much pressure. But at least NASR have got a player that's kind of floating in through mid this time. Coming in through the underpass is Greens. Utility being used by 5POWER to slow down NASR as much as possible. And they do still have a fair bit, but NASR is making this slow progression look pretty nice. That is a fantastic shot from Nami. And if Cabal or someone else drops to Greens here in mid, that could be problematic. However, he's been struck by the pincer strike. 5POWER trying to hold on to the bomb site. Can't do that. They will have to allow NASR some safe passage at least. Try to fight their way through. Zhao Sage will find KitKat. It's a 3v3. Bomb now on the cross. But NASR still haven't gained control of this bomb site fully. Breaker and Nami have opened it up. QKA in a 1v3. Not sure that this one is entirely doable for him.
Oh, I don't mind that at all. I don't mind that.
Well,
There's a bit of cheek. There's a bit of cheek about it.
not sure what he was really hoping for, to be honest.
It's deception. It's the key to mastery, but I feel as though that, that was definitely swinging into the hands of 5POWER. They didn't realize that NASR had no utility left, and they thought that they had to pressure them to make sure that bomb didn't go down. Little did they know they played themselves out of that round, and now they've just done enough. They keep 3 players alive there, NASR, and 5POWER have to fully invest in this round. So it will be at least the 14th round if 5POWER lose right now, that they will have to wait to buy. And oh my word, KitKat's just going to rip the head off.
No!
Should apply, but not again.
How has that happened? Dobu through the smoke. So many kills today from 5POWER through smokes. Dobu with the aggression straight into Sandwich. Gets himself another one. That one's above the smoke, so you can kind of see where that one's coming from. But Nami, oh dearie me, this is the worst kind of timeline that NASR could have expected. It's 15 up for 5POWER. Your money is absolutely cooked right now for NASR. And this might just be the map in the favor of 5POWER.
Yeah, I mean, it's well deserved, right? We can't sit here and say otherwise, because 5POWER have definitely been the team that have been showing, I would say, the more strength. I feel that that's probably the best way to put it. I don't think that even 5POWER have necessarily outplayed them tactically, because I feel as though NASR have actually played themselves out of most of these rounds. Like you were saying, not even 4 rounds ago, they need to stop going A. They need to change something up, and they haven't. They still haven't. They haven't put any pressure across towards B. We saw one player in mid that round that got taken out with no trade promise because there was no one supporting him. Like, it's kind of, rather the round before that. But NASR, this is their last laugh. This is their last breath for this map.
No money. No real utility guns to work with for NASR here. Perhaps no chance. But 5POWER, I'm going to try and close this one out 16-11. It's been a good attempt from NASR, and I think they have gotten a little closer than I did expect that they would against 5POWER, so there's credit for that. But maybe they just fall short at the end. It's going to be a miracle that gets them through this round, and then they're going to need a couple more to reset that economy for 5POWER. It's not over just yet. 15-15 is possible, but it is definitely a massive hill to climb. Mount Everest for NASR now.
It becomes less likely as things do progress, of course. The utility that NASR is slowly using to try and bait out some sort of a response is really nice. Oh, they've been given the site for free and finally a little bit of utility across, and bada bim, bada boom, before you know, a bit of magic's happened and they've got the A-bomb site for free.
Is this the miracle that they hoped for? Well, the smoke comes down a bit too late. Schwaderpie will find Havoc. Xiao Sage through the smoke also gets Nami. Well, it looked good for a moment for NASA, but all of a sudden it just falls apart. There's 5POWER. Again, come up in Trump screens. Last alive, 1v4, the substitute for this roster. He's not going to be able to get it done. Cabal will get the kill. The defuse will come across. A little bit eager on the plant there from NASA, a little bit slow on the smoke. And that is unfortunately their undoing in that round. So 16-11 will be the scoreline here between 5POWER and NASA. 5POWER will go on through Group A.